Hello again, fellow modelers. Armando here, and I am back at work on my Enterprise D after finishing my alien xenomorph, and I'd like to show you the progress I've made between yesterday and today. Yesterday I finished, was it the port? Yes, it was a port nacelle. Completed gluing it together after wiring it up, and all the lights are tested and they're looking good, just like the starboard nacelle that I showed on previous video. I got the copper coloration on the outside and it lights up blue when turned on very nicely. Got some issues with tester's glue there that I'm going to have to work out. Boy, this camera just will not focus now, will it? Better optical quality, but the focus is a problem. Okay, I apologize for that, guys. Okay, that's tester's glue there. Gonna have to carefully scrape that off and paint that so that looks better, but that's a minor thing. As for the pylons, I've completed the trench on the port pylon, and I wanted to show you what I've done, and then I plan on doing the one on the right. Sorry, the starboard pylon. Let's get our terms right. And I wanted to show you guys as I did it, so you get some ideas, and hopefully it'll help you create it. I don't really need a very wide trench. I made it just wide enough for the 4 magnet wires to go through, and over on the point where the nacelle sits, I made an area that's indented so as to make it easier for the wires to sit there. The wires will obviously be laid in the trench and glued in place with some CA glue, probably with a zip kicker. I'll have to be careful not to create too big of a bump with the glue so that the trench cover sits on top. Then the trench cover will sit right there. I will glue that in place after lining it up, and I'll place the nacelle, glue it in place, and go onto the starboard side. So I'll go ahead and set up the camera, and I think I'm going to switch cameras because although this is a better optical quality camera, it is giving me a lot of problems with the focus, and I really don't want to hassle with that. I want you guys to see the details. So I'll be back after setting up my tripod with the other camera, and I'll show you the way I drilled. I created the trench on the other pylon. See you soon. Okay, I'm back, guys. I've set up my tripod with the other camera, and I can see already that the focus is a lot better. Alright, the way I created these trenches is I used my Dremel with the special cutting tip, and I will tell you what it is. It's the 561 Dremel. It's looking mirror image on my screen. I hope it's not the same with you guys, but anyway, it's a 561 Dremel kit. It's a cutting bit which is designed to not only drill but to cut, and it can make circular and square cuts. It's very effective. I've shown it before in some of my other videos, and needless to say, you have to be extremely careful with this and stabilize it, because you want to stay within the boundaries of where your trench cover is going to be, or if you're going to putty, you want to try and stay in there. I'm not good enough with puttying to even pretend to get that thing back to its pre-trenching state after putting the wires in, so I cheated and I got the trench covers, and that's what I'll use. But just to give you an example, I lost control of it for a second there, and it went off to the side and sort of scored my primer there. It wasn't a big deal, there was no damage to the plastic, but if I hadn't caught it in time, I might have trenched that way, and that would have been something I'd had to repair. So you have to really stabilize this thing. Now, what I was showing you before, as you can see, I made an indentation right there, which I think makes it easier for the wire to fit when you fit the nacelle on top of the pylon. Now, obviously, you want to keep it above the line of where the nacelle sits. If you go too far in, then it'll show up on the finish out here, which is the area of the model that's going to be visible. But this isn't going to be visible, so you can drill this down with impunity to the point that you need to go. Now, the other thing I'll show you, which was a mistake on my part, and it was a silly mistake. I made the original hole here. Let me point it out with this. The original hole where the wires exited, I made through here. For some reason I thought that I'd be able to reach, but when I set the nacelle, the hole was way too far forward of where the trench needed to be, so I was forced to, in order to fix it, I had to take a smaller bit, make a hole here, and then trench this way, eating up the plastic until I reach the other one, at all times being careful not to tear the wire or obviously go down too far and get the LEDs. Now, luckily I was fine, everything went well. That's the port nacelle. I still have to do it with the starboard nacelle, and I can show you how I do that in a little bit. But first, let me go ahead and get started on the trench, so you get an idea of how it's supposed to be done to some degree. I'm not an expert, but this is how I did it anyway, and it worked out. The wires do fit. So here we go. I start this area that's very thick first. Always with my finger in the back, just in case. Not that the drill's going to go through and get to my finger. You wouldn't want that, obviously, but it gives you a feel for how deep this bit is going. Then what I've done is I've worked my way from top to bottom, joining the trenches. Trench just needs to be deep enough for the wire to fit. You'll have to use a thin wire, at least 28, 30 better, gauge. I'm using the 30 gauge magnet wire. And I tried moving from this direction to that, but it's really easier if you just pull this way. At least for me it was, because that way you can keep control of the direction of the trench a lot better. I guess it has something to do with the spin of the bit. It will not spin out of control as easily as if you tried to go like that. You can control it a lot better. So far so good. Now when you switch it this way, again you're pulling from away towards you. That's what's going to give you the most control, and this is where you have to be most careful because you don't really have a lot of points of support, so you really need to get some support on your hands to try and steady it. And to give it a little bit more speed. This area obviously is thinner, so you want to try and be careful you don't make your trench too deep. You just need it to be deep enough to fit the wire, remember. Oops. And ooh, see what I mean? You gotta be careful with that maneuver. Now I'm gonna have to fix that. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Okay. Now you can take a circular file such as this one, and you can help the trench out, smooth it out a little bit. There should be plenty of space for the magnet wire to fit through. That's how you do a trench, minus that stupid mistake. Now let's see. The other trench cover, which I haven't cut out of its sprue yet, will fit on top of there. Should cover up most of my mistake. I think I'll be alright, because that's where the boundary of the trench cover goes. So the only visible part will be that. That should be okay. It's not even indented, so I think I got lucky. Obviously, you have to be very careful how you control it, and this is the part in the pitfall where it'll go like that. It's the same place where this happened. See? It rotates this way, and that's how I got that. Despite warning you guys about it and having done it, I still did it again. So, as you can see, this is a tricky thing. But, that's okay. No harm done. Okay, I'll set up for the nacelle, and I'll show you guys what I do with that. Okay, I'm back. Now, as you can see, the point where the wires emerge is too far forward from where the trench ends, so I have to make the hole so it aligns with the trench more or less about here. And I guess to avoid this, either know more or less where the trench is going to go, measure it. This was foolish of me. I thought I'd measured it enough. I didn't realize that the trench cover thinned out and went straight up here. I thought it sort of bent this way. I don't know what I was thinking. But fortunately it has a solution. You just have to be careful when you drill it that you don't damage the LEDs inside or damage the wire. So we'll use this little mark as a reference, and we'll drill right there first. And I switched bits. I took one that's just big enough to fit in here without bumping up against the sides, and we'll go ahead and get it drilled now quickly, about 3,000, so it doesn't go too fast, and I have control over it. Here we go. Okay, and I'm through. As soon as I felt it go through, I stopped. See if I can show you the holes. Not sure if you can see them there. Maybe not. I'll just point them out. Okay, the new hole is right there. And now I'm going to go in the new hole, turn on the bit, and then move my way backwards very carefully, trenching out the plastic until I reach the magnet wire. Got part of it out. Keep in mind this stuff melts the plastic, so gotta be careful you don't damage external surfaces and details that you don't want damaged. You gotta keep it all inside the area where the pylon is gonna sit. I'll try and get the plastic out. You don't want it rattling around in there. It won't cause any problems with lighting because it'll settle at the bottom if it falls in, but still, just like I said, I've got it rattling it in there. Oh well, not a huge problem. Okay, almost done. Get some of this melted plastic off of the bit. It's amazing how this stuff just easily melts. Plastic is really easy to manipulate in so many ways. Okay. Okay, we're done. Well, I thought we were done. Looks like I got a little bridge there. Let me see if I can just file it off. Oh, looks like I'm going to have to use a drill again. Again, the same problem. Melted plastic on the tip. There we go. So now, as you can see, the wire can be moved forward without any issues. And now it will sit where it's supposed to sit in relation to the trench. So that's how you fix a boo-boo. Just make sure you don't commit that dumb mistake when you're doing your hole. That's just a silly mistake, but if you make it, you know how to fix it. Okay, so that's how you dig your trenches. Now I'll complete them and see you in the next update. Thanks for watching.